I don't eat breakfast, and that's why my brain works better than yours. So here's why eating before you study is so bad for your studying, right? But first off, my name is Richard. I got these results in my A-levels, and this allowed me to graduate high school 1 year early. I teach students how to improve and get their dream results in their A-levels with half the effort that it took me. So eating before you study seems so normal, right? You know, you eat breakfast and then you go to school. You eat breakfast and then maybe you might study, right? If you're on a holiday, right? And so that seems really normal. You just wake up and eat breakfast, right? But no, I feel like 3 meals is kind of a scam. I genuinely believe that 3 meals a day or 6 meals a day or 5 small meals a day is fucking scamming you, because it will ruin your focus, right? Despite what everyone says, you'll be like, oh, you need consistent food and consistent energy across the day to be focused and to be alert and all this kind of bullshit, right? Like, eating food and digesting is actually really bad for your focus, especially for your brain, right? It'll start to make you more lethargic even if you eat really healthy food, right? Just that process of digesting food, of, you know, your body processing that food, it will take away resources from your brain, right? So why are you spending like the most productive hours that you could have? Why are you spending that digesting food, right? Especially people who eat like, you know, a normal Western diet, right? They eat like processed cereals. They eat like fucking weird shit, like bread, like white bread, right? These kind of things that are especially bad for your brain, right? Why are you wasting those times processing and eating those food and digesting that food? Why are you wasting the most productive time possible, right? Because the time when you wake up and the time when you first wake up, that's when your brain is fresh. That's when your brain is most capable, right? It has just woken up from its rest. It has just woken up and you can use it to its full potential. But then what do most people do? They eat their breakfast. They eat that, right? But you might think that if you go fast and you skip a meal and that kind of stuff, you're going to feel so hungry. I'm going to feel so hungry. I'm going to be so hungry, bro. Like, it's going to be so bad for me. And look, it is, what, 8:40 right now, 8:30, something like that, right? And look, I haven't eaten like all day, right? I haven't eaten since last night's dinner, right? And look, I'll be honest, I did kind of feel a bit hungry before, but it passed, right? And look, just because you feel hungry does not mean you have to eat. Doesn't mean that you have to eat. Do you have like no impulse control? Do you have no control of yourself that you feel a bit hungry, but that does that mean you literally cannot control yourself? Are you like a fucking obese white woman who cannot control yourself, right? You know, you have this feeling, but does that mean you have to act on it, right? For example, right? If you're feeling really angry at someone, right? Does that mean you have to lash out at them or punch them or do something mean to them, right? Does that mean you have to do that? No, because you are in control of yourself. You are the only one who can control your actions. And just because you may be feeling one way, doesn't mean you have to act in that way, right? Just because you are stressed, does that mean you have to like punch a wall or something like that, right? No, you are in control of yourself. And the thing is about hunger, right? Hunger just goes away after a while. It goes away after like 10 minutes anyways. Like, it's perfectly fine. Maybe like 5 minutes. Honestly, even 5 minutes. It's just a thing that you have to get used to. It's just a habit, right? If you don't eat breakfast regularly, if you normally just don't eat breakfast, then your body will get used to it. Your body will get used to it, just like how it gets hungry for breakfast now. Your body will get used to it, and you'll just forget about being hungry, right? Genuinely, you'll forget about being hungry, especially if you're doing something important, like a big task or big studying goals, or, you know, you're studying really hard for your exams, right? Your student just forget about the fact that you were ever hungry, right? Like, this is not to promote like eating disorders and that kind of stuff, but I mean, it will genuinely help you lose weight. It actually will help you lose weight, right? But you can just eat later. Just eat later. Just eat afterwards, right? Don't eat before like your important task, right? Don't eat before you study, right? Because it'll slow you down with your study, right? Your brain will be like 30% less effective. Or if you're eating carbs, right? It will mean that like the next hour after you've eaten a bunch of carbs or eating a bunch of sugar and refined carbs, that'll mean that the next hour will be shit. It'll mean that your brain will be like 20% as functional compared to what it could be if you were fasted, right? Even if you eat a healthy meal, you will still have a dent in your performance because of the fact that you are digesting, right? But if you don't eat this and you focus on doing the most important tasks, right, and the first thing in the morning, right? So basically eat the frog, where you wake up and you do the task, where you wake up and do the most important task first, and you do that before you do any eating, before you do any like other things, right? Let's say you're studying for your A-levels, so you are gonna do your past papers, right? You're going to do the practice questions. You do that and you write your questions out, you do your essay or whatever, and afterwards you can eat. Just eat afterwards. Save your brain power and save the most effective time that you will ever have. Save that for the big task. Save that for the important task, right? I am fasted right now because recording takes a lot of brain effort. And so if I was eating right now, you would see me space out way more. You would see me be way less focused. I would make worse videos, right? Because of the fact that I would be eating a lot. Because of the fact that my brain would be slowed down. But then again, you might say that you really need these extra calories and you need to get in protein for your morning, for, building muscle in the gym, or that, I literally cannot handle it or whatever, right? Like if you want to prioritize that, right? If you want to prioritize like actually building muscle and, gaining that big fitness, I understand you, right? I understand you. I got you. Like if you want to prioritize like, building muscle and that kind of stuff, right? I understand you. I've had those phases as well, but you just have to decide which one do you want to prioritize more, right? But even if you do that kind of bodybuilding schedule, you can just work before you eat. You can just work before you eat your breakfast, right? Let's say you wake up at 7 a.m., you study for an hour, and then you eat breakfast. You wake up at 6 a.m. and study for 2 hours, then you eat breakfast, right? There has to be a thing that you prioritize. And so you have to think what's more important to you right now, your grades or your body, right? And it's fine if it's your body, right? It's fine if you actually want to build more muscle. I've had those stages as well, where I just ignored the school a bit too much. But what I'm proposing here really isn't that radical, right? I've built muscle with only eating 2 meals a day. And that's perfectly fine. It's easy enough for me to get in my calories, right? It's not even that bad. It just means that like, oh yeah, instead of eating breakfast, you just eat more at lunch or more at dinner, right? It's really nothing bad. But that unlocks hours of your day. First off, you have more hours to focus. But then second off, you literally just have more time because you spend less time eating, right? You literally just have less time to eat. So it becomes really powerful and it's genuinely a great tool. And so if you combine that with waking up early and scheduling your time and eating the frog and doing the most important task first thing in the morning, that'll mean that you'll probably have some of the most productive study sessions you'll ever have if you implement this properly, right? Tomorrow you wake up early and you just don't eat breakfast and you just work on the task for like 2 hours. You write out your entire essay within an hour. Or you bang out an entire maths exam in the morning so that you can study really hard for your test. And then after that, you can eat, you can relax, you can do whatever, right? It's great, it's easy, it's fun. It's not even that hard. Just try it. Just try it tomorrow and you'll see that your brain literally works better. Like you might feel a little bit hungry. That's true. But as long as you remember to drink more water, your brain will genuinely feel so much stronger, right? It'll feel like focused, right? Your vision will legit focus in more. You're in a hunter mode, right? Think back to the caveman when he's really hungry, right? If he's really hungry, that means he needs food. So that means his brain gets signals to, become more focused and become more aware and present and sharp, right? So that he becomes a better hunter because of the fact that he is, hungry, right? He literally needs more food to survive. So his brain helps him in that, right? But if you have just eaten, if you have a big feast or after you just killed the boar or something like that, right? You can relax, you can sit around, are you going to be as sharp? Is your brain going to be turned on, right? Look, it's not going to be, right? And I know that from my own objective personal experience, right? My own subjective personal experience. Your brain is literally not going to be as focused as it could be. So you're basically limiting your own potential when you eat so much in the morning. So these are the kind of things that I talk about in my program. Link in the description below, especially if you're an A-level student. But yeah, genuinely, I would say that diet is incredibly important, and obviously fixing up your diet and cleaning up your diet is incredibly important, right? I would say fixing up your diet and cleaning up your diet is also incredibly good, but also just fasting in general, right? Fasting in general is actually, it's a bit of a brain hack that I've implemented, and it's helped me become way more productive, right? So if you combine fasting with these other tactics like, scheduling, like, eating the frog and waking up early and those kind of things, right? It'll mean that you'll be able to study so much better for your exams, for your goals, for example. And genuinely, you'll probably achieve more within like a couple hours than most people achieve within a couple days, right? Because you'll actually be focused and switched on, right? This is the kind of stuff that I talk a lot about in my program, link in description below. Especially have a look at that if you're an A-level IGCSE student. I talk a lot about those things, and also I expand a lot more and go into a bit more detail as well. So just to sum it up, just try it, bro. Honestly, just experiment with yourself and just try it and see how it goes. You'll probably see it and you'll experience it and you'll realize, shit, this does work. This actually does work. So try that and try not eating breakfast and doing the work in the morning. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.